Most of the clan were sound asleep during the early morning hours. Besides a few members keeping watch, it was the perfect time for Apple to discuss things that she didn't want other people to hear. Apple had already spoken to Lady Sharky about her plan. They had grown quite fond of each other from their time together in the clan. Lady Sharky suggested that they were going to need 5 people to pull off Apple's plan, and suggested that they talk to Amistine and Blessed. "Let me get this straight," Blessed inquired. "You want us to use disguises to sneak through the Holy Nation capital, somehow make it all the way to Rebirth without being discovered, free all of the slaves, and then escape without getting captured or killed?" Apple smiled. "Exactly." Blessed laughed. "You might as well just march us straight into our graves. Even if we could get through the first gate, the second gate where the Holy Lord Phoenix resides is even more heavily guarded. They would surely detect us before we make it through," Amistine explained. "You're right," Lady Sharky said. "That's why I had Hayes make us something special." Blessed and Amistine looked confused. "What is it?" Blessed asked. "Fire rum," Lady Sharky smiled. "Surprisingly enough, if you combine blood rum with skeleton oil, it becomes explosive once ignited. A perfect distraction for us to slip by," Apple concluded. Blessed looked at his sister before looking back towards Apple. "The preacher did terrible things to me while I was his slave. I won't let what happened to me happen to others. I'm in." Amistine looked at her brother. "Well, I guess I'm in too. Someone has to keep you out of trouble." Blessed chuckled. "I think we're beyond that point, sis." Apple thanked Blessed and Amistine for agreeing to help her. "Now all we need to do is get Magnus on board." Amistine looked confused. "Why Magnus?" "Who do you think is going to plant the fire rum and ignite it?" Lady Sharky explained. "He's the only one who knows the capital inside and out." "What makes you think he will agree?" Amistine said. "If he says no and tells the rest of the clan our plan, they may try to stop us." "He won't say no," Blessed said encouragingly. "You know what happened to his sister. This is his chance for payback. He'd be a fool not to take it." "I hope you're right, brother," Amistine said, unconvinced. "What about Hayes?" "Hayes is too baked to tell anyone anything, at least until we're long gone," Lady Sharky chuckled. Magnus was dreaming of his sister, Kat. She greeted him as he entered their house like she did every evening. "Welcome home, brother. Long day at work?" Kat smiled. Magnus nodded. "Well, are you going to introduce me to your friends or not?" Kat said, pointing behind him. "Magnus!" Apple shouted. Magnus woke from his dream to see his clan members standing before him. "What is it?" Magnus grumbled. "I was having a good dream." Apple motioned with her arms to those standing at her sides. "We're headed north to free the slaves of Rebirth, and we need you to help execute our plan." Magnus was still waking up. "I must still be dreaming." The look on Apple's face told Magnus that she was serious. "Look, no one escapes Rebirth. The only way you get out is when you're dead. Those people are doomed." "I am living proof that that isn't true," Apple acknowledged. "With your help, we can free the slaves and give them back their lives. For once, we can do something good." "Something good," Magnus sneered. "I tried to do something good by rescuing my sister, and look how that turned out." The room was quiet. No one dared to say a word. Magnus had taken his sister's death harshly since his arrival to Moonshine. Magnus sighed. "Tell me what your plan is." The group began to explain the plan that they had agreed upon, going over all of the details. "No, that's not going to work," Magnus spat. "Patrols to Rebirth are usually in large groups or in very small numbers. A party of 5 would be suspicious even if there is a distraction." "What do you suggest then?" Lady Sharky asked. "I'll plant the fire rum while 2 others go through the gate. The other 2 will have to take the northern pass and approach Rebirth from the north. Once the guards are taken out on both ends, both groups can converge on the center. When the slaves are free, all of us head back through the northern pass. Since the guards will be taken care of, it should be smooth sailing from there." "Why don't we all just go through the northern pass and leave through the northern pass?" Amistine asked. Magnus eyed Amistine as if it was a dumb question. "Because if something goes wrong, there's no one to stop the southern gate guards from bringing the entire garrison down upon us." Amistine nodded her head. "Good point." Magnus put his hand on his chest. "I'll catch up after the distraction, but if something goes wrong, you're all on your own." The group began to nod their approval of the plan. Wait for me outside while I get my gear, Magnus commanded. Magnus could see his friends waiting for him as he approached. Alright, let's go, before I change my mind. The group made their way out of the Thunderdome and began to head north. Apple knew she was asking a lot from her friends, but she couldn't do this without them. I'll come back for you, were the words she whispered to the prisoners before she escaped. This was her best chance, and perhaps her only chance, at freeing them. She had to keep her promise. The next day, Aviticus woke to a killer hangover from all of the drinking the night before, and decided to walk it off by greeting the clan. Yeflin had an early start mining stone, and Hayes was already starting to brew more sake. Aviticus had a meeting with Amistine and Lady Sharky, but they were nowhere to be found. The clan hall was empty. Aviticus began inspecting everyone's house, trying to account for all of the clan. Apple appeared to be missing, along with Blessed, Amistine, and Lady Sharky. When Aviticus entered the warden's chambers in the Thunderdome, Magnus was nowhere to be found either. The prisoners were all left in their cages. Where the hell is everyone? Aviticus wondered. Mr. Wolf crept quietly towards the ledge, overlooking the bandit camp below him. The bandits appeared to be resting before their next raid, which meant it was the perfect time to get the upper hand on them. Tonight, he was the wolf, and they were the prey. The bandits didn't see Mr. Wolf charging at them at full speed. He was as fast as lightning. Mr. Wolf began attacking the bandits with a fury, punching the first man and dodging out of the way. The rest of the bandits got up from their sleeping mats and began to fight back. A series of strikes came towards Mr. Wolf, but he dodged out of their way, backing up to give himself enough room for his powerful kicks. More bandits started to surround him, but it wasn't going to be enough to take him down. A crossbowman shot his crossbow, hitting Mr. Wolf in the back. Mr. Wolf flinched as he dodged his way out of more incoming attacks. Mr. Wolf leaped through the air with a flying jump kick, making contact with the bandit's face and knocking him to the ground. A number of quick strikes knocked down 2 more bandits, leaving the crossbowman left to confront. Mr. Wolf kneed the remaining bandit in the chest, knocking him out cold. As the sun started to come up, Mr. Wolf noticed one bandit trying to crawl away and began to walk towards it. A flying jump kick tore the bandit's arm right off and sent it flying into the unknown. With his signature move, the death punch, Mr. Wolf killed the armless bandit. Mr. Wolf began to walk away to wherever the next battle would take him. He needed to find harder opponents to test his skill. The trial of the wolf has only just begun. Vaynepyre stood warming himself by the fire. It was cold up north. Night Fury, Cryo Assassin, and him had been traveling for days. Their first stop was in World's End, where Vaynepyre was able to acquire a new crossbow. The trio also had one last grog before they set out on their journey, knowing it could always be their last. They were getting close to cannibal territory and closer to the bounty of the cannibal Grand Wizard. Cryo Assassin and Night Fury were talking to one another while keeping an eye out for enemies. We're far enough away from Moonshine that you can stop pretending now, Cryo Assassin said. I suppose you're right, Night Fury sighed. This mask makes my face itch. Night Fury took off the mask to reveal her true identity. She was a woman. I never really understood why you just didn't tell everyone, Cryo Assassin questioned his sister. There are plenty of capable women warriors in the Dragon Clan. I guess I just thought I would be taken more seriously if everyone thought I was a man, Night Fury laughed. Thinking about it now, it sounds silly. No more pretending. The mask makes you sound like a man, no wonder no one could tell, Vaynepyre said. Night Fury turned towards Vaynepyre, pointing towards her chest. Well, what about these? No offense, but your upstairs isn't something to gawk at, Vaynepyre smirked. Night Fury slapped Vaynepyre across the cheek. Haha, very funny, you ass. Vaynepyre rubbed his cheek. I probably deserve that. The trio turned towards the sunset, looking towards their destination, the cannibal capital. Tomorrow we'll be in cannibal territory, Night Fury confessed. Cryo Assassin nodded. Tonight will be the last peaceful sleep I'm ever going to have, until we get out of here. Vaynepyre looked at his 2 companions. Rock, paper, daggers to see who has first watch? Memories began to flash through Gus's head as he walked through the skeleton graveyard of obedience. It was here that man marched their creations into the massive quarry, setting loose a chemical agent that destroyed most of the skeletal race. Gus was one of the hundreds of skeletons that remain, wandering the world without a purpose, while being hunted towards extinction by the Holy Nation. A figure emerged in the distance. It was another skeleton. "Hello!" Gus yelled. The skeleton didn't pay any attention to him and kept walking. Gus began to run to catch up with the skeleton. The skeleton didn't say a word and began to charge towards him. Gus had no choice but to try to defend himself against the flurry of attacks that followed. "Stop! What are you doing?" Gus screamed. "I'm one of you!" The skeleton continued his onslaught, slicing Gus across the chest and arms. With one final swing, the skeleton knocked Gus out cold and began to walk away. When Gus's system reboot was complete, he picked himself up and repaired the damage that he received. Gus couldn't believe that another one of his kind would attack him mindlessly. Is this what his race has become? Mindless zealots? A fury inside of him began to burn like never before. "Humans did this to us," Gus cried. "They created us and gave us life. Then they turned around and murdered us when they had no use for us anymore." Gus's hand turned into a fist. "I'm going to show them," Gus vowed. "I'm going to show them their mistake."